continuing with the problem 8B4, and you're just filling in the top portion of the 941. And all of that information just comes from your problem.
So Brown Sporting Goods Shop is not the trade name, it's...
I have it under the name because that's the ID number that goes with Brown Sporting Goods. Brown Sporting Goods could also have, let's say, a bait shop where they keep their finances separate, and we could put the trade name there. If we had another small company underneath that one that already had the number. But we don't have the person's name there. All right, let's look at line number 1. And it says, number of employees who received wages, tips, or other compensation for the pay period including March 12th, which would be quarter 1, June 12th, which would be quarter 2, September 12th, quarter 3, and December 12th, quarter 4. How many employees did we have? We had 3. So let's put the number 3 there. On line number 2, it says wages, tips, and other compensation. Now we have 3 months, and we'll need to look in the book at the cumulative earnings or the monthly earnings, because we can't use the cumulative, it's the end of the year. If we were first quarter, we could use the cumulative earnings, but we're the end of the year. So we need to take the monthly earnings for October, the monthly earnings for November, the monthly earnings for December, and add those 3 up. And that's what I did for line number 2. That's the total earnings for those 3 employees for that quarter. All right, that's line number 2. You might make a note where that's coming from on your paper. Or you could even put those 3 numbers up there so that you know where they came from. Line number 3, income tax withheld from wages, tips, and other compensation. How much income tax did we withhold for October? $1,494. For November? $1,622. And December? Okay, $2,055. So I'm adding those up to put that number on line 3. Line number 4 says, if no wages, tips, and other compensation are subject to Social Security or Medicare tax, check and go to line 6. Well, we paid Medicare, OASDI, and Social Security, so we're not going to check that. We're going to continue on. Okay, we'll go to line number 5. It says, taxable Social Security and Medicare wages and tips. And I think we had, did we have one person who met the wage base, David Clark? David Clark, his year-to-date earnings for December are $108,910. How much of that, how much of his wages will not be included? 2,110. So I did that little calculation down at the bottom. His earnings were 108,910. The wage base was 106,800. So there's the 210. So I took the total wages, which we already had listed, 33,350, and I subtracted that amount to come up with the number that's going on 5A. We don't have anything for 5B, which were tips. And 5C, remember, Medicare is calculated on all the earnings. So it's our same number again, 33,350 that we had on line 2. So the only one I needed to change was this top one, because we had someone that was over the wage base. Now on our 941, it asks us to multiply using their percent. So it's 0.124 to come up with this number, and it's 0.029 to come up with this number. So if you'll multiply that, and then we'll check to see if we have the same number. What number do you have for 5A in column 2?
3,000.
And how many cents? I didn't hear you share. 76. 3,873 and 76 cents. And then 5C, does anyone have that number?
$967.15.
Okay, 967.15. Then it tells us in line 5B, total Social Security and Medicare taxes, and it tells us where to get it. Column 2, lines 5A plus 5B plus 5C equals 5D. I've added it up for you, $4,840.91. line number 6, total taxes before adjustments, lines 3 plus 5D equals line 6. So add those two up. Should be $10,011.91. I think sometimes the government forms can look a bit intimidating, but they're written on like a 6th grade level, and it tells you exactly what to add or what to subtract, where to get them. I think it's just how it looks. It looks like you just can't do that. It looks complicated, but so far it hasn't been, has it? We've just put the numbers in, we've added what it told us to add. Now from this part, I'd like for you to put just a little asterisk there, because I like for you to go and do the back side of the form right after that one. We're still not finished with the front side, but if you'll go to the back side, we can fill in some of these numbers, and it makes it a little bit easier to calculate because it's not always to the penny. Sometimes it's off. We use their percentages to calculate, and we used our percentages when we made the journal entries. So sometimes it's off, and many times when you're doing a government form, you don't even include the cents. We're including the cents in our problem. So I like for you to go to the back, and I want us to look at the transactions that you did the other day. Look at the transaction for month 1. Month 1, which was paid on November 15th, what was the total for the 941 taxes on that transaction? You all will have to look at the printout that I gave you. November 15th. What's the amount? $3,082.14. What's the amount for the second month of the quarter? Look at the second month. It was December 15th. $3,245.34. If you're not looking at your work, you won't know how to do this. And then look at the payment for January 15th. How much did we write our check for on that transaction? Manuel, how much did we write the check for? Yes, $3,684.44. So there's where we're going to put those numbers. That's the transaction that we already did. We didn't do step 16. It says write the state abbreviation for the state where you made the deposit. And what were we? What state were we? I don't even remember. Massachusetts, MA. And we can't check line number 17, so we have to fill out part 2. So I just added those 3 up. It was $10,011.92. Now let's go back to the front side of our form. We have those numbers, and we have, we filled out line number 6. Our total taxes from the transactions, it's going to go on line number 8. $10,011.92. Total taxes after the adjustment, $10,011.92. But what's wrong? It's not matching, is it, how we calculated? Aren't we off? We're off by a penny. So current quarter's fraction of cents that we're off on 7A, if you'll put .01, this is why when we do taxes, we don't usually include the cents. We have to show total adjustment here for 1 cent. And then total deposits for the quarter. We actually made more deposits than what they're saying that we had to make, didn't we? I'd always rather have it that way than even to be short a penny. And then we're going to add those lines up, add lines 11 and 12A. And this is the amount that we have made our deposit for. That's our 3 months for the end of the quarter. Now here's, did I give you the wrong one first? Oh, I guess that's all of it. That's the last one. This one has the calculations on the top part. Did everybody get that part? Where we got to the $10,011.91. I think I just misnumbered my pages. And there's the last part of that. Now there's some more items on the second side of the 941 that we need to fill out. Tell us about your business. If a question does not apply to your business, leave it blank. If your business has closed or you stopped paying wages, check here. And then they want the date. If you are a seasonal employer and you do not have to file a return for every quarter, check here. Okay, we might be a seasonal employer. Number 4, part 4, may we speak with your third-party designee? Do you want to allow an employee, a paid tax preparer, or another person to discuss the return? If yes, we need to put numbers or phone numbers and names in there. And then part 5, you must complete both pages of 941 and sign it. If you're the person that's preparing the form and you're the person that's supposed to sign it, and I don't remember that person's name. Who was it? Bill Brown. So Bill Brown would have his name in here. I wouldn't write Bill Brown's name in there because you wouldn't want to forge his name. But you could just make a notation that the owner would sign there. Print your name here, print your title, because it's Bill Brown that's going to have to prepare it. This section is if you have a CPA, a certified public accountant, or another tax preparer that's going to prepare this for you, they need to fill out that bottom part. Again, you're not really that person either. It didn't tell us that we had any authority to sign this form. So Bill Brown would have to be signing it, but again, I wouldn't write his name in there. You might just make a note that Bill Brown needed to sign it. Now on our problems, if it says you're the preparer, you're the one that can sign it, then put your name in there. All right? Let's go back and look at if I have one that's completed on the front all the way. I don't have it. Again, it's reminding you, you must complete both pages. Overpayment, if line 13 is more than line 10, we had an overpayment and that was the 0.01 cent. I'm sure they're not going to send that back to us. Costs more than the stamp just to mail it to us. All right, so that's our 941. think on a couple of your problems, you have to complete the 941. Do we have any questions about the payroll? I've tried to make it so that it doesn't seem so overwhelming. Miriam, if you'll just move that over to here. I think this will help if you'll just remember the transactions that we need to prepare. Record, transfer the cash, and then make the payments, and then we'll fill out the 941. Billy's Market that we're going to start today will give you 3 opportunities to do all of these 3 times. When we start Billy's, I do not mind checking that. It'll be like Sullivan, except that it's not in my accounting lab. Okay, it's not in my accounting lab, so you won't be able to do it in my accounting lab. It just has to be done on the paper. If you are an expert with Excel and you want to do the payroll register in Excel, be my guest. Because I think that would be a way of just transferring that knowledge from what you're learning in that Excel class to what we're really doing. Questions? If you didn't get a 100 on Sullivan, it wasn't because I didn't offer you free assistance and help on that. I do not mind checking anything. You can send me a picture of it to say this isn't coming out. Can you help me? Yes. Remember, I also sent you an email about the tutoring that's available over in the Slack lab. Mario told me yesterday that only 1 person has come over. And I think he even has Saturday hours, or he did when he first set his schedule up. Daniel.
The contact information from him, or where did I go?
It's in the email. I put his phone number in there. Go to Canvas and just go to your email and look at the email from me. The last email I sent, I think, was to change one of the problems in the homework, but the one before that was the tutoring hours and his phone number. You just have to make an appointment.
Charge it?
No, it's a free service. So if you think you need tutoring, and I don't mind helping you, I just have to make sure, and I've asked Mario to ask you this when you come in. Are you behind on your homework? If you're behind on your homework and you're not doing your homework, I don't really want him to offer tutoring to you. Because you're not holding up your part of the bargain in the class. So he has to have some kind of a basis. He just can't start teaching you from chapter 1, although he probably could. But anyway, his name is Mario, and he's over there to help you if you need help. He could probably help you on Billy's too, but I can help you too. So don't feel like you can't come into my office or even ask me before class starts to do a check. I don't mind checking you. And it's the second comprehensive problem, so it is a major part of your grade. And we'll have it due probably on the day we take our test. Now you can use your late pass, and some of you have used your late pass if you were here that day on time when I gave it out. But if you keep your late pass until the end of the semester, I also offer extra credit when you turn it in. So you might want to hang on to it. So if you don't use it, then I offer the extra credit. I'm also offering extra credit for Tuesday night when my guest speaker will be here. Several of you have said that you're coming. You just need to RSVP. We're counting on 25, and I think I have 19. So I still have places for 6 more people, and the Society of CPAs is sending giveaway items from their organization. So everybody should get one. They're sending 25 of each. And then I made a change on the assignment sheet, so make sure you see that up there. All right, let's look at Billy's Market. If you have your computer on, if you'll just turn it off, or don't turn it off, just minimize the screen, or just turn off your monitor so that we can pay attention to what's going on with Billy's Market. Right, Billy's Market. Maybe I can read it from there. This comprehensive review problem aids in putting the pieces of payroll together. In this project, you are the bookkeeper and have the responsibility of recording the payroll in the payroll register, recording the payroll in the journal, paying the payroll, recording the employer's tax responsibilities, posting to the ledger accounts, and paying the tax deposits, as well as completing the quarterly report, and we just did one. Billy's Market, owned by Billy Timberlake, is located at 1456 Maryland Lane, Boston, Massachusetts, 01975. His employer identification number is 424583312. Please assume the following. FICA OASDI is 6.2% on $106,800 per employee per year. FICA Medicare 1.45% on all earnings per employee per year. I would underline the word all or circle it. SUTA, state unemployment tax, is 4.9% due to favorable merit rating on first $7,000 per employee per year. FUTA, federal unemployment tax, is 0.8%, a very small amount, on the first $7,000 per employee per year. Employees are paid monthly. The payroll is recorded on the last day of each month. So I'm not telling you whether it has 30 or 31. Count it out with your knuckles to know. The federal income tax table from IRS Circular E, Employer's Tax Guide, is attached. State income tax is 7.0% on all earnings, and employee paychecks are numbered consecutively, starting with number 63. The following are the employees of Billy's Market, along with their monthly salary exemptions and other information. Mo Frank, Mary Jones, and Linda Lou. They're all three married. Mo has 0 allowances, Mary has 2, Linda has 1. And you can see we have sales salaries and market salaries. Those are the only two. We have our January, February, and March payroll amounts. Billy's Market, partial listing of ledger accounts with their balances. Cash. If you'll go to your ledger, see if you have that balance in your ledger account for cash. Do you have a balance for cash?
Yes.
Okay. If you didn't have a balance for cash and they're giving you a partial listing of the ledger accounts, that's the first thing you'd have to do. And you can see on mine, well, and it will look just like yours, except I have all of the numbers in there. But when we're given a balance, it's the date, the word balance, a check mark in the post-reference column, and then record the balance. I did that for you, so some of the accounts already have a balance in them. But if we were starting from scratch, you'd have to put the balances in. Okay, I did that for you. All right, let's continue looking at the direction. So we have a balance in cash. We do not have a balance in the payroll checking cash, but we have balances in our tax accounts. payable, 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 payable. We have balances in all of those. We don't have anything in wages and salaries payable. We don't have anything in payroll tax expense, market salaries expense, or sales salaries expense. Now, if you'll check all of those accounts, you should have those balances in them in the ledger. Yes? No? Yes. Okay. The next step, using the general journal, ledger accounts, payroll register, and Form 941 provided, please complete the following. Our year is 2012. January 15th, record and post the entry to pay the December 2011 Form 941 taxes. Where are we going to get those numbers from? You can get it from two places. Either the actual ledger accounts or that partial listing of the ledger accounts right here. What are we paying on the 941? What did we pay?
The federal taxes,
The federal taxes, which include, which ones?
FICA,
OASDI, FICA Medicare, and the FIT. All right? Now, I'm going to put the transaction up here because I'm going to give you the first few. You'll have everything except the numbers in the post-reference column because we haven't posted those yet. But look at these numbers. It got brighter, didn't it? I moved it. Okay. Look at the numbers on that partial listing from your ledger accounts. And look at your ledger accounts to see if that isn't the balance in there. We had a balance on the credit side for those payables. Now we're making the payment. So we have the FICA, OASDI payable, the FICA Medicare, and the FIT. They gave us, somebody already did the payroll from last month. All we're doing is making the entry for the payment. Our description, deposit December, and I don't think it's 2009. My key must, because I've updated it. What year, what did it say it was? 10, 11? Okay. I just didn't update that, so this should be 11. And this isn't a problem that came from any of our books. This is one that was created from scratch, just to include everything that I wanted you to practice before you take your test. When we add all of those up, that's the amount of the cash payment, $2,083.40. Now don't put your account numbers there until you post. But when you post, these accounts should go to zero because we made the payment. Why don't we go ahead and post those four? We still have time. Let's post those four accounts so that you'll see how they're going to go to a zero and the cash is just going to be decreased. But you can see where the numbers came from. You can see where they came from. Well, and we're making that payment right now. So that will help, and then when you go back to actually do, oh, I guess this was it, because my students did a semester. But this is the transaction that we did. As you post, those first 3 accounts should go to 0, and then our cash is just going to be decreased. When our accounts go to a 0, remember we draw a horizontal line through the debit balance column and the credit balance column, 2 separate lines. The last step when you post is to bring the account number back to the post reference column. After we finish that first transaction for January 15th, I would put a line through that transaction for the date so that you know you've completed that one. When you're working through this comprehensive problem, you can post as you go. Posting is the most time-consuming thing that we do. And maybe if you break it down into posting after each transaction, it won't seem so bad. Are we ready to go to the second transaction for January 15th? Yes? All right, January 15th again. Record and post the entry to pay the state income tax from last month's payroll. Where are we going to get that amount? Get it from 2 places, the actual account or that partial listing that is right above. How much is the state income tax from last month? The state income tax. $192.50. Okay, the state income tax. So what does that transaction look like? We know it has to be a credit to cash, and the actual account is state income tax payable. My year again is wrong. But there's how we're going to list it. The 15 state income tax payable is our debit. Don't put the account number in there until you post. $192.50, and then cash is our credit. Deposit December 2011 for the SIT. Now when we post, and I don't think we'll take time to post this one right now, but when you post, state income tax payable is going to be a 0. Okay, when you post. Let's look at the next transaction. On the 31st, record and post the entry to pay the state unemployment tax due from last quarter. State unemployment tax, how much is it? $705. Our transaction is going to look like this one, except for the account numbers. And you can go back later and post it. State unemployment tax payable is our debit for 705. Cash credit for 705. Description, deposit fourth quarter 2011 tax. It doesn't have to be worded just like mine. And then you can go back and post that one as soon as I give you the next transaction. All right, the next one is for the 31st again. Record and post the entry to pay the federal unemployment tax due from last quarter. What is the amount of that one, federal unemployment tax? Should be 115. I hope you're skipping a line in between the transactions, are you? Federal unemployment tax payable, 115, and then cash is our credit for 115. Deposit fourth quarter 2011 tax was my description. Now you still have to go back and post those, but I want us to get to the next instruction. On the 31st, it's on the next page, complete the payroll register for the January payroll and record and post the entry to record the payroll. So let's find the payroll register. On the next page from that instruction is your form for the federal income tax. But if you'll go to your payroll register, it should be the long form. And I'm just going to show you how I want you to do that. Mine is broken into two parts, this part and then the second part, so I can read it. I didn't reduce it to the regular size paper size, but you'll have all 3 months on one. You'll have all 3 months. You have enough room, just put your total, skip a line. I don't know if you have enough room to skip that much space, but you have enough. You have 3 employees plus your total, so make sure you leave enough space. 3 employees plus your totals, and you can get all 3 months on the same one. Right? Then our next set of instructions will be on the 31st again. Record and post the entry to record the employer's payroll tax expense from the January payroll. Then in February 1, we are to record and post the entry to transfer the cash from the January net pay from cash to the payroll checking cash. That's transaction number 3. Remember, that's not in the book, but we did a demo of that one. Credit to cash, debit to payroll checking cash. As you work on each transaction, I would put just a slash through the date so you know you finished that. Post as you go. I think it will make it so much easier. And then when we come back on Tuesday, if you've worked on it, let's check it. I'll be more than happy to check it. At least get that first payroll finished. You might not want to record the transactions until I check it, But if you work on it over the weekend, I have one of these keys at home, so I can help you check it at home. I didn't put on here how many hours it should take you. The Sullivan took you 5. This one could probably take the same amount of time. You have 3 months worth of payroll and transactions to do. So I would say no more than 5, and if you work a little faster, maybe it will be less than 5. So plan accordingly. Don't try to just sit there and do all 5 hours at once. Have a goal to finish that first month so that I can check it on Tuesday, okay, before we go into chapter 9. You need to work on your tutors today. We still have about, do we have an hour? Is that clock right? Okay. All right. Any questions about Billy's Market before I turn you loose to work on something else? Sharon? It'll be due on the day we take our test. On 6, 7, and 8. And we said Tuesday. I think we'll be ready to take the test on the Tuesday of that week. What is that date? The 8th. Is it the 8th? Okay. I think we'll be ready. No surprises on the test. If you've worked through Billy's Market, you really should be, in good shape. Miriam, did you turn it off?
I would need to do the payroll register and the Excel.
You can if you want to. Will you turn this off? Are we off already?